Welcome to the Female Authors in Literature UnitPlan by Gregory Bloom, Cynthia Pugal, and Azima Yahya. Our unit plan we designed for a 10th grade English class. Students will learn about various female authors from different time periods with an emphasis on poetry. This unit will cover an overview of poetry such as form, rhyme, and figurative language. We will discuss female authors' work and lives such as Emily Dickinson, Jane Eyre, Maya Angelou, and others. There will also be a discussion regarding several times in history and its effect on the author's writing. The activities in this unit include, but are not limited to, identifying themes in poem, creating Venn diagrams about authors and poems, students writing their own poems from the perspective of the female authors. At the end of the unit, students will draft and compare and contrast essay between two female authors. We will ensure to use a variety of learning strategies, formative assessments, and facilitate conversation. This unit plan addresses the Common Core state standards found below, including determining a theme or central idea, determining the meaning of words and phrases used in a text for figurative and connotative meanings, comprehension of literature, the collaborative discussions in groups about themes in literature, and the ability to produce clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and style are appropriate to the task, purpose, and audience. Going over the critical thinking analysis of our unit, we will be introducing research regarding psychology and cognition that shows that brain injury often harms basic cognitive abilities such as memory, learning, attention, and concentration, and that can also impair academic abilities such as reading, arithmetic, and reasoning. So we will be developing lessons that give more time to complete in-class assignments, giving more breaks to those students who need them, and giving both oral and written instructions to clarify these instructions. In reference to behavioral theories introduced by Ivan Pavlov, who was the first behaviorist theorist who believed in classical conditioning, Pavlov's research with dogs showed the association of neural stimulus of a sound tone with the environmental stimulus of food produces a response which was salivation. Thorndike developed his law of effect, which stated that behaviors that were rewarded tended to recur, while behaviors that were punished or not tended to weaken. Positive reinforcement leads to the behavior being repeated. If the students share correct answers, students will receive candy during our lesson. This strengthens their listening and work ethic skills. Pavlov's theory of behaviorism, specifically classical conditioning, is applied to this lesson because students will be talking a great deal, and so if we need to get their attention, we will count down from 5. Constructivism and Piagetian theories regarding formal operational stage is the last stage, where it applies to adolescence and beyond. In this particular stage, students are able to critically think, collaborate, create, communicate abstract concepts. And this lesson is aimed towards high school. It is appropriate to incorporate Piaget's formal operational stage, as students are able to critically think by using abstract concepts. The research is applied to the poem, where students are asked to create a mental schema. Vygotsky's and Bruner's theories regarding Vygotsky, who saw child development as consisting of passing through a series of periods of stable development, namely infancy, early childhood, preschool age, school age, and puberty. In our unit plan, we are instructing high school students, comparing and contrasting different female authors in their writing, the different time periods which affected their writing, and how they expressed the theme, mood, and tone through their writing. At this point, we hope that each student has been able to develop through these periods as Vygotsky stated. Each student, of course, are exposed to different environments and the outcomes are different. However, students are still capable of learning. Bruner, like Vygotsky, emphasized the social nature of learning, citing that other people should help a child develop skills through the process of scaffolding. At the beginning of the lesson, we need to build the understanding so that the students have the components and the building blocks to write the paper. Several assignments our group has suggested are reading poems from several authors and annotating them, underlying the theme, highlighting vocabulary, determining the mood, utilizing imagery. Venn diagrams help as a basis for finding differences and similarity between different authors. Working with groups to answer a set of questions about poems or excerpts help build this foundation, so when it comes to time to finally write the essay, students have taken the steps necessary and have the knowledge about these authors to complete the assignment. Learning theory and social cognitive theory. Individuals that are observed are called models. In society, children are surrounded by many influential models, such as parents within the family, characters on children's TV, friends within their peer group, and teachers at school. These models provide examples of behavior to observe and imitate. For example, masculine and feminine, pro and antisocial, etc. Displaying an example of proper annotation on the smartboard and also providing a worksheet to the students to follow will help the students imitate. Placing the students into groups or partners where there are different learning levels will help those students who are lacking motivation, understanding, or tend to go off task. By doing this, they will see those students who are modeling the behavior do the work, read the poems, annotate the poem, and complete the assignment. If thought is a distinct piece of mental machinery, if thought is a separate from observation, memory, imagination, and common sense judgments of persons and things, then thought should be trained by special exercises designed for the purpose, as one might devise special exercises for developing the bicep muscles. It is important that we spend the time to give the students the foundation and expectations of what we want them to learn and understand by the end of the lesson. Over time, students may begin to pick up that Emily Dickinson was not a traditional poet and use unusual form and syntax. But of course, this is just building their thought process and repeating it so it becomes memory. We should repeat this process 2 to 3 times for students to retain information and knowledge. Cognition and metacognitive development. Cognition can simply be defined as all mental processes and abilities in which people engage on a daily basis, such as memory, learning, problem solving, evaluation, reasoning, and decision making. Cognition helps to generate new knowledge through mental processes and also helps to use the knowledge that people have in daily life. Over time, students begin to somewhat memorize and annotating 3 to 4 short pieces of work by each author. They begin to learn and comprehend about what the author wrote and the different language styles. All of this is building their cognitive abilities to complete the assignment and transfer their learning to the final assessment, which is a compare and contrast essay. Metacognition is often defined as thinking about thinking. It allows us to complete a given task well through planning, monitoring, evaluating, and comprehending. This means while cognitive processes allow normal functioning of individuals, metacognition takes it a higher level, making a person more aware of his or her cognitive processes. Developing metacognition strategies for students on how to brainstorm and use the several examples of poems, excerpts to use in their final paper will be important for these students to write a successful essay. Some students will opt to use a Venn diagram, a compare and contrast chart, brainstorm different techniques of each author with bullet points, or pre-write and openly write about the topics, or use a graphic organizer. Intelligence and creativity. Some researchers have suggested that intelligence is a single general ability, while others believe that intelligence encompasses a range of aptitudes, skills, and talents. Intelligence encompasses when teaching this lesson plan, students are able to utilize different methods to show their understanding of how similar or different female authors were throughout time. In one assignment, we have students annotating several poems, in another, an open discussion with questions and answers, or in another, the use of graphic organizers, Venn diagrams, or understanding vocabulary from these authors. Emotional intelligence, at the most general level, refers to the abilities to recognize and regulate emotions in ourselves and in others. Some students may find this quite difficult. It deals with different writing examples, styles, rhetoric, format, themes, etc. There are so many factors that can influence a writer's thought process. This is where emotional intelligence becomes valuable. When a student is self-aware and can self-regulate their emotions, despite the degree of difficulty within an assignment, it shows their ability to adapt, adjust, look for alternatives, or problem solve. Many of our lessons are geared toward partner or group lessons as they encourage learning in a social environment. Therefore, students are able to contribute information using different skills, knowledge, ideas, and talents. Thank you for viewing our Female Authors in Literature lesson plan.